Well, good evening, everybody, and a huge welcome back to SAF1 Esports Season 4. It's round 6. We are heading to Silverstone for a sunshiny Silverstone. Believe it or not, it's planned to be dry for this entire evening. We're into Q1 already. Some of the drivers are on track. My name is Webbo. I'm here as your commentator and joined, as usual, by Tim. Hey, Tim.
Hi, Webbo. How are you doing? And, you say it's going to be a dry Silverstone, but it really does look like an overcast, so
It
that does
does.
come as a bit of a surprise to me.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're almost out there on track. I will talk you through the championship standings, perhaps in between Q1 and Q2, maybe, because I think that one of our Mercedes drivers is already about to attack his first lap. It looks like Madtrav there, Tim.
Yeah, Matt Trav, of course, the points leader so far, and has been on quite a dominant tear. Of course, it's been quite a few weeks since we've been able to see this man in action, so I'm sure that he is ready to get back into his winning form. And just want to say a beautiful-looking helmet on this driver for the white and teal colors. Very much matching the Mercedes. You don't normally see a driver choosing a helmet that matches the car they're driving, but Matt Trav certainly has, and it looks fantastic, and he looks fantastic around these corners. Really looks like he's got the car dialed in today.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, who's surprised that Madtrav is on it from moment one? But yeah, you're right. Screaming through cops right now. I don't have any track sound coming through. I don't know about you, but I'm not getting that coming through my screen. But hopefully we're okay on the stream.
Yeah. Hit the pause button
There we
and
are.
then hit it again. There we go.
Good job. Well done. That's awesome. Yeah, one of those lovely glitches. Good evening to Calvin, who joins us as we watch Madtrav going through the Stowe corner, scene of many, many famous battles through the years. Calvin joining us to enjoy the stream, and do let us know if you're watching with us who you are, who you're here for, and who you're hoping will take the win. Well, an early pole position time, well, I should say fastest time for this session, a 26.6. Shortly followed by Imi on a 27.5. I think Quintin is out there and working the wheel, but just starting his lap. So we'll see about anyone else finishing a lap. Tim, can you spot anybody for me at the moment? What about Sparks making his debut here tonight? I think he's invalidated.
Oh, yes, he has. So not the way that he wants his debut to go so far, but it's better to do it now in qualifying. He's got plenty of time to get back out there. Nonetheless, thank you to Sparks for joining us today.
Definitely, yeah, great to see Sparks. I've commentated over him a number of times in the past as Tiago on the stream invalidates. Sparks has been brought in to try and give Madtrav some competition out in the front of the championship. But who knows? It's a new day. There's been a long season break. How much practice has our championship leader Madtrav been able to get in? Whether anybody else has been able to catch up? Those are very interesting questions that we will seek answers for in this session. Tiago, unfortunately, invalidation, as I mentioned out there. Looks like Xander has come into the pits. In fact, he won't complete that a new lap. But Quintin is out and running, and it's still valid on this first attempt at a safe banker. Neil goes a 27.1. The lap time's not coming in particularly quickly from the drivers. Tim, is that in line with your expectations at this point? 27.3 for Quintin.
Yeah, that's very much in line with my expectations. Early on, the track is really not going to be that rubbered up, so you're going to suffer from a severe lack of grip. So the longer that you can wait, and the more cars that actually go out there and make laps, it's going to be a little bit grippier. So this early on, it's mainly just bank your laps.
Yeah, absolutely. Completely agree. Take advantage, though, of a lack of traffic out there. Try and find a window and eliminate that element from your concerns, I suppose, at this point. Sparks is finishing up his lap. 103 point something was his second sector. I didn't quite read that fast enough, but we'll see how his pace is looking relative to Madtrav. Sparks taking on the Aston Martin, and it's a 26.865. Somewhat braking on the line there. I wonder if that was a little bit of tactics not to reveal our hand too much, Tim.
maybe not, is now Diego Maestro Eco's 7th, a 127.894, a banger lap for him in the Ferrari, as we can take a look now at DXT Matty in the Red Bull. So far, so good on his lap, and we'll see what kind of time he can lay down.
Yeah, heading now, of course, down the Wellington Straight, this one. So named after the World War II Wellington bomber that operated out of the original Silverstone Air Force Base that many of the middle runways that were turned into straights were originally purposed for. And you can see, if you see an aerial shot of Silverstone, you can still see those runways very evident. Through Copse goes Matty, not a hint of a lift, so confident with the car right now, Tim.
Yeah, looks very confident indeed. And of course, you know, you and I, Matty, we have commentated over him in many different leagues. So we know this driver, and we know the kind of lap times that he is capable of. And the fact that he is confident today really does speak volumes for what we could see from him in the race later. Yeah,
agreed. Absolutely. Well, Matrav still leads from a narrow margin from Sparks. Then Neil, Quintin, Aimee, Fudge and Tiago. We'll ignore Calvin's safe banker because it's well outside of any kind of representative time, as Matty goes P8 on a 128.1. A lot to build on, though. He's going to need a lot more than that to be safe, Tim, through this Q1 session.
Yeah, that he will indeed. We're going to probably see about 3 drivers not disqualified, but just not advancing to the second round of qualifying after this. Of course, that number we will have to wait and see just exactly what it's going to be, but should be about 3 drivers. So the final 3 obviously going to be in severe jeopardy of not advancing their qualifying position beyond where they find themselves at the end of Q1. But currently watching SAF1 Simps in the Haas car, though he doesn't look like he's going to have that fast of a lap. However, he did get a nice little bit of slipstream off of the McLaren of Don Ravico, so that's a decent run for him. Let's see what he's able to do, as he's got just a few corners to go. A little bit of a lockup could shave some time off of his lap, but overall looks like he might be okay as he crosses the line. He goes to third, a 126.909.
Good time from Simps. Impressive stuff. Calvin has gone faster on the second lap on those softs. Of course, it doesn't matter your usage on the tyres in this qualifying session, although you could do with not burning through too many sets of soft tyres here to keep some back for the race and potentially for Q3 as well. But yeah, good time in for Calvin on 2-lap-old softs. Perhaps he can use them later in the session just to build on that. But Matty looks like he's slowing through this section. Not Schumi. Did invalidate his first attempt, and Zander likewise has gone red on his lap, so Hamrick might be the next driver to watch. And we can see this very iconic circuit. Of course, it's had its changes in the past. I don't know if you're a big fan of the most recent change to the circuit, but personally I think I preferred the prior setup, the old turn left at the end of what is now Hamilton Straight.
Well, I'll be honest, I've slept since the last time I saw the old layout for Silverstone, so at this point I'm just going to have to roll with these punches and deal with what we've got for us. And, you know, I have raced on this circuit in a different league, actually Speed Force Racing, which does a lot of work with SAF1, and I actually seem to like that final sector myself. Not saying that I had decent lap times. I really didn't. I bended on the start. But, I mean, nonetheless, I did like the third sector.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely has its fans. I'm not so keen on the break in the rhythm, but it's immaterial because that's what we have right in front of us. Hamrick staying valid. He's got a Red Bull in front of him, and hopefully won't trouble him too much. The first run's almost done now. I think Hamrick, as usual, sitting out the first few minutes of Q1, but gets a 128.696, and unfortunately one of the slowest times we've seen yet. So it hasn't worked out too well for him just yet, as now Top Dog, who has yet to live up to his name in SAF1 Season 4. We hope to see some better performances from Top Dog relative to the rest. At P9, 27.789, and it's looking tight in that midfield, Tim.
Yeah, it is looking very tight. Top dog, like you said, a 127.789, but then just above him, a 127.695. Below him, a 127.894, and then below that, a 127.930. Really close lap time, separating by a tenth of a second. We might even see down to the hundredths, or who knows, maybe even the thousandths of a second separating drivers by the time this is all said and done.
Well, it's absolutely what we want to see, of course. Zardi messaged the group to say, well, that didn't last long, and yeah, I haven't acknowledged yet that he crashed out on his first out lap, or first hot lap at least. Calvin said, yeah, it wasn't a banker he was running. It was actually a mistake in his first lap, so he chose to complete it and stay valid at least. But yeah, that explains it, as Dom Rabico does a similar situation. Zander, though, finishing off his lap, and we just got the Vale followed by Club corners to go before he hits the Hamilton straight. And the start-finish line at 27.991. Not enough to get the job done tonight, but Neil thinks he's got enough in hand, Tim, at 27.1, and he's wiping his hands, and he's off to get a drink, I think.
Well, and like you said, tire wear doesn't matter in this Q1 session, so
right.
If you are already in fourth place, then you are more than likely going to be okay. So you can afford to do just that.
Yeah, have to agree there. So far, Madtrav has the lead narrowly by Sparks and then Simps, Neil, Quintin, Calvin, Fudge, Aimee, Top Dog and Tiago, but the real crucial pairing here that will get eliminated from this session, Duxter and Zardi. Well, Zardi's definitely going to be eliminated, so it's really a race away from the bottom of the standings that we have to show for it tonight, with Duxter 16th and Zardi 17th there. Duxter yet to put in a time, and we'll try and join him shortly, as Hamrick struggling through Copse and now losing some momentum, hoping to regain it as he heads through Maggots and Beckett's, but this is a bit of a slower lap. So I tried to focus here, Tim, on the guys on the bubble, and Zander will be hoping to bring his Mercedes a bit further up the order than he currently is.
Yeah, hopefully so. A 127.991 belonging to him so far, and looks like he's going to dive down into the pits, try to get a fresh set of soft tires on that car, and go out for at least one final lap. Hopefully he can find himself up into the top 10 at the end of the 3 qualifying sessions, but right now he's just trying to make sure that he's nowhere close to that bubble.
Absolutely. Well, Duxter just about shaping for the next lap. I must just say a thank you to our sponsors, Rabico Holdings, DR Developments and Quintessential Photo and Video Works. Didn't do a sponsor call at the start of the proceedings. We were a little bit delayed with some technical issues, but yeah, without the sponsors we can't go racing, Tim.
Hey, and you know, sometimes you do got to keep those sponsors happy, and hopefully the sponsors are able to sit back, relax, and watch the stream and enjoy a nice bit of racing.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there are some possible name commonalities with our sponsors and some of our racers. So whether they're driving or they just have close relations in the paying seats, we try to look after them as best we can. So Duxter then heading through his really his first proper attempt here in the Alpine. Looks to have grip to spare through Copse, maybe losing a little bit of top speed here, Tim, given the turn-in he had through Copse.
Yeah, and Duxter here, as I'm going to ride on board with him just to see what his steering inputs are doing. And yeah, I did not see what he did through Copse, but through this corner here, looks like he could really be hugging that curve just a little bit more. So it's almost like the car is just not wanting to rotate. It's not wanting to have that front nose pointed exactly where he wants it to go. And, you know, sometimes you have to compromise when developing your setup, and you do have to chase the car. But the less you have to chase that car, the better off you're going to be. But a 127.647 for Duxter.
Yeah, that's a lot more like it. That could be safe, although I think that it's going to be very competitive, these final runs. 2 minutes to go before the checkered flag falls, and you must have started your final attempt. Looks like not Shumi is in that position. He's decided to get out there and hit the track right now. There won't be a huge amount of difference in track evolution between the last 2 minutes and the final few seconds, particularly through Q1. The track evolution is rated from the start of Q1 to the end of Q3, I believe, rather than resetting each time. So he's quicker than he's been before in the first sector, now just navigating Luffield, soon through Woodcut. And the cars, when you sit in the grandstands there through Luffield and Woodcut, if you hear a V12 or a V10 go through there, it is painful, Tim. The old tin-roofed grandstands absolutely shake you right to the core, and you go home with a horrible headache through those corners.
And as someone who has seen Top Fuel dragsters go down the strip but never seen a Formula One car or even a Formula One Grand Prix, I can only imagine the echo and the roar that you hear. You're happy because you're getting to watch a race. You're getting to hear this and feel this and experience this, but then at the same time, like you said, your head kind of hurts.
Yeah, definitely. I was glad to get back with the V8s, honestly, after a few of demonstration runs from the V10s. Well, not Schumi goes 3/10 faster, up to P11. Will that be enough? Time will tell, as now Don Moravico is out there pushing. He's, 7.5 seconds faster than he was in the first sector last time round, and has got a purple first sector. So looks like he's on track here. He looks to be wearing possibly a matte black and white helmet and matching race suit and gloves, which I always appreciate. I know you gave props to Matrav. Oh, an invalidation from Don Rabico, and I don't think he's got time. No, the checkered flag has fallen. He will not improve, so that could leave him out of this session, and I believe it will just be those two. But I'll track the rest of the drivers as Tiago, now finishing up the lap, decides bailing out of that lap at the very last second, crossing the grass on the way into the pits. Not Schumi then finished his lap. No major improvement through there. I think that's the end of our session one for qualifying one at least. I think it will be Don Ravico and Zardi that will have to sit out for another 30 odd minutes before they can actually get back into the cockpit. Not good.
Well, hey, you know what? I mean, at least they have time to order some takeout. Maybe, just get some food, kick back and relax, and then right when the food shows up at the door, that's when you have to go racing.
Absolutely. Well, Fudge is letting us know when that he may have to switch to AI temporarily. But yeah, Sparks telling Matrav that he bottled his second attempt, Sector 2. Well, gamesmanship possibly a little bit of bluffing going on. We'll see in Q2 how the drivers compare and how they fit their strategies as we go through. Now, hopefully that's the end of the session. Nobody is going any quicker. I would be tempted to start reading out the current championship standings, but I know we're going to switch straight to this results screen the moment I decide to go and do that. So I might get partway through them, or I might just wait until we start Q2. Sorry. Welcome if you're just joining us. Make sure you've liked the video and subscribe to the SAF1 channel if possible. You can find us on Twitter as well. And if you want to follow my broadcast streams, you can do that at WebORed5. And Tim, if memory serves, you're not on socials.
I'm not on socials. You'll just have to, contact me by carrier pigeon the old-fashioned way.
Awesome. I've yet to see a pigeon that can make it over the Atlantic, but we can try.
But you see, in 2022, we can just build one. Who had to say? Like, who said it had to be an organic pigeon? We can just get a robotic pigeon. Sure.
Yeah. A pigeon quadricoptering drone or something like that would be pretty cool. Duckster crosses the line. I'm assuming he's on AI. So we will I promise, get to the results screen very shortly as the AI currently try and simulate a battle into the first sector between a Williams and the Alpine car. My time remaining is stuck on 1 second to go. I don't know about you, Tim. I hope this isn't a sign of a glitch.
I'm afraid it is, but I guess we're going to have to wait this out. And I would normally say we have to wait the clock out, but we've already waited the clock out, and time is just frozen.
Absolutely. They say time flies when you're having fun. I'm not quite sure what that means when time freezes on you. Yeah, and we've actually got 3 additional names been added to the roster tonight as well. So I think this is a sign of trouble brewing. Not for the first time, unfortunately. Looks like somebody joined in quali. So an instruction going out to possibly Duckster, I think, joined in quali, and that may have caused us an issue. But also Simps has got an issue with connection, so just trying to track down who is to blame pretty much here, and then hopefully we'll get we'll get us back underway. I'm not quite sure what we do once we've completed Q1, whether we go into a short qualifying, if we have to start again. Might be the fairest way, but there isn't the option, Tim, of starting from Q2.
Yeah, it's starting to look like there's not going to be a Q2, at least not right away, so I guess we just have to wait and see. But, you know, I've been thinking about this whole time freezing thing, and I'm just wondering which one of us messed up the space-time continuum.
Well, I don't think it's confined to us. Certainly there's some blame on Duckster and Simps, currently circulating in the Discord chat at least. So, yeah, some suggestions that they'll go. If they go, we'll be okay. They might be able to join on the formation lap, maybe. But yeah, it seems to be that old issue that's been with us for at least 2 games of people joining during quali. Sparks driver apparently is driving underneath the track, so that might be worth a look now. I can't go see.
Webbo, if you want a little bit of a different view of Silverstone, then you could, of course, switch over to Duckster, who has somehow been able to phase through the wall. I think the AI is trying to get him back to his pit. Of course, see, that's the thing. When these glitches happen, we can at least have a little bit of fun, but Duckster is properly in the infield.
Definitely. Well, I've got the results screen now. Matrav, as we said, fastest, 26.6, worth remembering. And Sparks, less than 2/10 away. Simps, Neil, Quintin, Duckster, Calvin, Imi, Fudge, Top Dog, Not Shumi, Tiago, Xander, Hamrick, and lost from the session. They actually decided to take away the 15th place driver, Matty, as well, sadly, as well as Don Rabico and Zardi. What that means for Simps and for Duckster, I'm not entirely sure in the next session, but we will hope to pick things back up very shortly. And that gives me an opportunity, Tim, to have a quick look at the standings. I was hoping to get this up on stream, but unfortunately couldn't get things fired up in time. No surprises, Matrav in P1 are 156 points, and Phantom, I believe Phantom left the he left the group. Am I wrong in that? I had a memory that Phantom had to leave, but anyway, Phantom's not with us today. Phantom second in the championship on 121 points. Dom Rabico 107, Duckster on 93, and Quinton on 83. Not Shumi on 72, and Calvin on 70 are your top 7 drivers. Yet to score points at all, obviously Sparks, who has not taken part yet, Donovan and Eugene, reserve drivers. But everyone scored points who has so far, of course, with the point system as it is. McLaren lead the championship 182 to Ferrari's 178 and Mercedes 168. So very tight in the Constructors' Championship. Less so at the very top of the leaderboard in the drivers, but hopefully we will get a little bit more competition out there. But of course, as I said, anyone reviewing a race and saying it was boring is not paying attention to the rest of the field, and that's always been my motto. It's a lazy analysis to call a race boring. We just need to go looking for different battles other than the lead, Tim.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you want to call a race boring, then I think that you should be watching more than just the front pack. Now, if you were watching the rest of the field as well, and you still think it's boring, well, okay, I mean, maybe. I know I, for one, have certainly seen a lot of different races in my time that one could say boring. I have seen 3-car races that have been fantastic, and then I've seen 20-car races that have been awful. Yeah. So it also does just depend. But for the most part, there is at least something that can, how you say, tickle your fancy during a race.
Definitely. Sparks' helmet there, for me, reminiscent of Francois Server and his helmet colours, but I could stand to be corrected on that. But yeah, he's about to tackle the track. First of all, maybe it'd be a good opportunity for you to talk us through a lap of Silverstone as he gets his first lap underway.
On board with Sparks now in that Aston Martin, and just want to point out he is on the medium compound tire. Now this is when the tires really matter. Whatever tire you set your fastest lap on in this session is what you're going to start on. And you see there he's using a lot of the curves, but you got to be very careful. Look at that red sausage curve. If you hit that, then your lap is absolutely done for. And actually, Sparks already flirting a little bit with the grass, which you got to be careful there as well. You go through the grass, you can get some wheel spin, and it's going to turn you around. Of course, down the Wellington Straight, as you said, and a little bit of a slide there. You can hear the tires squealing just a bit, but the car is rotating very, very nicely for Sparks, it seems like. And he's using every bit of racetrack that is actually allotted to him. Of course, now is coming to arguably the most famous part of this racetrack, which here in just a moment you're going to be going through Maggots and Beckett's. That seems to be everyone's favorite corner, and here you go. Maggots and Beckett's, and wow, Sparks just absolutely flies through there. Barely a lift off the throttle there at the end. Had to burp it a little bit, and it messed up his line just a tad, but now he's got that DRS down. That wing is wide open down the hanger straight, and he has got a nice run into the final sector. Really sticking close to that curb, using that curb. There is maybe a little bit of grip there if you can get the right setup under your car. And of course, through the third sector, just a handful of corners to go. The new addition to the Silverstone layout just right here. And now as he crosses the line, we're going to see Sparks lay down a 127.132.
That's impressive on medium tyres, and as you say, he was using every inch available, and a few that weren't really available to him. Really knows his way around. He puts in so many hours, Sparks, and performances like that on medium tyres, as Jaime Alonso can't get very close to him on softs, and Matrav puts in a 128.454 on softs, and we've seen him playing a few games like this in the past, setting slow laps on the soft tyre in Q2, only to then go and blitz it on mediums. Of course, I'm sure most people here, Tim, are going to be hoping to start on the medium.
And of course, that's going to be your ideal strategy, right? If you can qualify in the top 10 on the medium tire, imagine how fast you're going to be on that soft compound tire, because obviously the soft compound tire, while it lasts less, is going to be quite a bit faster, but there is a large benefit that can potentially be gained if you're able to extend that first stint a little bit longer by starting on the medium tire.
Yeah, fully agree. And Silverstone is a high-deg circuit, of course. You know, for on-track F1 racing, we've seen punctures and blowouts and cars finishing on 3 wheels, well, one at least, out there. So it's definitely an advantage if you can be on the tyre that gives you the more flexible strategy, of course, at the start. We'll see what people choose to do beyond the top 10. But whatever the guys elect for here, as you said earlier, Tim, is what they start on.
So watching Not Shumi now as he's in the third and final sector. We'll see what he's able to do. On the soft compound tire is that Aston Martin driver, as his teammate has just taken the provisional pole, at least for this session. But now Not Shumi crossing the line, and he will go to fourth, a 127.801.
Yeah, Zander has invalidated, and he represents the only driver actually on a racing lap right now. Duxter has been able to rejoin us, or at least didn't leave fully, maybe just retired from the session. It looks to be a solid car, looks to be a human in there who has elected not to wear a helmet, which is not the most advisable way to go about behaving in a racing car.
I just realized that. Oh my goodness, that looks fantastic.
Either that or he's got a really, really
it.
good transparent helmet on. I'm not sure.
Well, you know what? If it keeps him safe, it keeps him safe. But I will definitely. I agree with you. It's probably best to wear a helmet. Thankfully, this is sim racing. If this were real life, I think that the FIA and Michael Massey might have a word to say about that.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Duckster then hoping for a little bit better pace in the car through this Q2 session. 27.4 Sector 1. Gets the car nicely into the Brooklands late apex. Elects for an early Apex 1 and a wide Apex 2 through Luffield. Now Woodcut cuts the corner as everybody does. Got to be careful of the Armco on the inside there, and heads on through Cops. That look like 3 different choices for turning and steering angle going on through Cops for Duckster. Not completely confident with the car, or possibly using a controller here. It was somewhat staged the way through there, and unfortunately the exit at Chapel is his undoing, as we see with many cars. An invalidation there through Chapel didn't work out. Xander also, as I said before, has invalidated through his lap, so Duckster will come into the pits. Top Dog is out on a lap. His teammate is on an out lap right now, so I think Top Dog might be a good guy to watch. Alpha Tauri running fairly smoothly at this point down the Wellington Straight.
Just a personal analysis, though, you were saying that Duckster might be on a pad, and I think that you are correct on that, because if you compared what you were seeing in the wheel inputs from Duckster versus the Alpha Tauri here of Top Dog seems like he's a little bit smoother, and that doesn't necessarily mean he's not on the pad, but the smoother those steering inputs are, the more likely that they are on a wheel, where Duckster's was really just jumping around everywhere, and it does look like Top Dog might be using a wheel here as he is now approaching Magnussen Beckett himself. No lap time yet for the AlphaTauri driver, but hopefully for his sake that will change here in a moment. But he's going to have to be very careful not to invalidate here through Chapel Corner, which he is able to go through swimmingly and puts down a purple second sector.
Yeah, very nicely through Chapel. In fact, possibly left a little bit of speed through Chapel Apex to recover, which is what you want for this first flying lap in the qualifying. You don't want to be right on your very limit. But we'll see what the time comes out at. A very big mix of tyres going on the cars. The Top Dog goes third, 27.3. I'm not quite able to remember how that compared to his Q1 time, but third was higher than where he placed before. Of course, all the runs are not in for the first runs out there for the drivers. Xander is planning to complete this lap on the softs. And to bank it. Neil goes fastest at 26.926 as Xander spins the car in club and is going to go backwards over the start-finish line, is he? A la Ayrton Senna, Donington 93, but no, didn't quite make it all the way to the finish line. A 36.799 will be bad news for him, although he has beaten Calvin at this early stage in qualifying. I'm sure Calvin will put down a better lap than that, as Fudge now, Tim, is the next one, I think, heading towards the finish line.
And Fudge, the only driver left out there on the medium compound tire that has not set a lap, so let's see if he can challenge DRS Neil up there in the first position. The top 2 drivers in this session so far on the medium compound tire. Can we go 3 for 3? Let's see what the Ferrari driver will do as he crosses the line. He will go to 8, a 127.871.
That's going to be tight. I think our cutoff is going to be in the early 127s for the end of this session. Of course, the tyre choices by the drivers really going to be confusing the analysis somewhat, but my impression would be that if you're on a 26, you're safe, and if you're not, you're not. Frankly, at this point in proceedings, Simps and Duckster. Simps has rejoined, it looks like, and starting an outlap off the track. So managed to keep it valid, but I'm not quite sure how that one worked out. Simps looking a little bit leery out there, Tim.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on here with Simps at all, but looks like he's got a hold of the car now, as Duxter has also just started his flying lap just behind him. So both of these drivers trying to sit down a lap time. After that, it'll just be Hamrick who needs to get out there and set a time sooner rather than later, as he is starting to run out of time. Just over 3.5 minutes remaining in the qualifying session, but Simps so far looking at least fairly decent in this car, but not the best line through that corner that you would maybe want to take.
Yeah, absolutely. He's got to be coming at this fairly cold first real run, and the session is has only got 3.5 minutes left to go, so it's really now or never. There isn't really enough time. If he invalidates this lap, he might get the car turned around, but if he completes this lap, I think that this will be it for him. One shot approach through Q2. Soft tyres, trying to guarantee his journey into Q3 at least. And we'll see how he navigates the Stowe corner. Somewhat possibly delayed on the throttle a bit there, Tim.
Yeah, meanwhile, I'm watching Duxter just behind him, and he was also a little bit delayed on the throttle, but Simps goes to third, a 127.2. Let's see where Duxter's going to wind up, as he's got one more corner to go, and he crosses the line. He goes to first, a 126.881.
How do you like that? That's a lovely time from Duxter. I'm sure he'll be very pleased with that. So out there with 2.5 minutes to go, Fudge is currently doing a banker lap, I think, on the mediums. I think he's just bringing those up to temperature. Tiago has already done that job, I think, but is also going slowly on this current second lap on his mediums, so I'm a little bit confused by that. Do you really need 2 warm-up laps on the mediums and to take that kind of shelf life off them? You're starting to nullify the advantage that you've chosen to gain strategically using the mediums when you've started to burn through them beyond a gentle warm-up lap. Aimi is under his time, 0.07 of a second faster than before, and from P5 right now, that's a good place to be. If he can just drop the needle slightly on this, he will be able to guarantee his position through to Q3. We've got some outlaps starting at the tail of the field, which I will cut to because I want to make sure we see the drama of the guys on the bubble of invalidation. But Aimi coming through Maggotts and Beckett's looking quite nice, looking smooth, and safely navigates Chapel. Might get a friendly tow here, as he's now nearly 0.2 faster through the second sector and knocking on the door of that magic 126 time that he's hoping to get to. Simps has retired from the session, no surprises there with that P4 on the softs, but Aimi just gently getting the car out of the club corner, goes faster, goes 127.148, didn't quite make it through to the 126 group, but he's good enough, Tim, to almost guarantee his participation in the next session.
Oh, and that I'm sure of, as I'm now watching Matt Trav, a driver who I am wondering is going to be able to guarantee his participation in the next session, which I'm sure that he is. I mean, this is Matt Trav that we're talking about here, but so far with a 128.454, he's at least flirting with not having that opportunity, but he is on the flying lap, so we'll see what he's able to do here. Just now going through the second sector, just about to approach those famous corners, Maggotts and Beckett's. We'll see how he goes through these two corners, and it looks like he is making a complete straight line through there, just a tiny little burp on that throttle, as you would expect through Chapel Corner. Maybe goes a little bit wide, might have suffered a little bit of a loss of speed there, but overall is looking very quick and very consistent with Mad Trav so far through Stowe Corner at the end of Hanger Straight, using that curve just a little bit to try to find every bit of grip that you can, and of course through the third sector rather, as the second sector was purple, and one more corner to go, and we'll see the lap time that Mad Trav has given us. It is going to be second quickest, a 128.899.
Just a 26, yeah, I was just going to say, but a good time nonetheless. Everyone knows what you meant, I'm sure. A 27.657 for Noshumi will make sure he finishes no higher than 12th. Quentin is right on the bubble, but going 0.3 faster and I think he's decided to opt out and sit this one out. He knows that nobody can beat him. The checkered flag has fallen for the rest of the field, so no need to complete that lap and scrub that set of tyres. A 27.4 was the bubble for Quentin, and we will reset all the times and get going with Q3. I will step away for just a moment. My apologies if anyone detects issues with my voice. This is my first day back in the commentary booth after an illness, and it's been. I just want to make sure that I don't overdo it. And apologies if I'm heard coughing or coughing or stuttering at all. But I will step away for just a moment, Tim, and hopefully you can take us through the standings very shortly.
Yes, hopefully so. As Mad Trav, of course, he has completed his lap, a 126.899. So Duckster is the fastest driver of this session. We have one more session to go. That's going to be the Q3 session. And here in just a moment, we'll see how it rounds up. Of course, Duckster in the Alpine, the quickest with Mad Trav in second, DRS Neil in third, then Sparks in fourth, Ami Alonso in fifth, Simps in sixth, Top Dog in seventh, eighth is Diego Maestro, ninth is Calvin, and then Quentin in the 10th position. And then the eliminations is Fudge, Natshumi, Sander, and Hamrick. 4 drivers out of the Q2 session and will not be advancing to Q3. Of course, Q3 is just the top 10, and I have a feeling that we're going to see nothing but a red sea of soft compound tires for that Q3. Remember, in Q3, you do not have to start on the tires that you set your lap time on. That is reserved for Q2, so the tire choices that you just saw will be what the drivers start on when we get to the race in approximately 10 minutes' time. Just hoping that we can get through Q3 sooner rather than later, and I'm sure that most of the drivers are feeling the exact same way as well. It has been quite a while since we've been able to grace your... I was going to say your TV sets, but realistically, you're probably watching it on your phone or perhaps on a laptop. This is 2022 after all. But nonetheless, we are so glad that you've decided to tune in to the SAF1 Esports League, and we have certainly missed you, but it's been a fantastic break. We hope that you had a wonderful Christmas and a wonderful New Year's, or whatever holidays that you have celebrated within the past few weeks. But now the holiday that we are celebrating is the British Grand Prix, but only after one more qualifying session, which looks like it's about to be underway. Think we might see Mad Trav actually find himself on the pole, surprisingly, today. Just have that kind of feeling. Of course, Mad Trav, he is no stranger to the top spot of that podium, whether it is at the end of a race or at the end of a qualifying session. So that is, if you were a betting person, then that would definitely be someone that you want to keep your eye on. But as I've said, we got 10 drivers going to compete for this pole position and just over 11 and a half minutes remaining for them to do it. And it looks like Mad Trav is going to be the first driver to blink here, and he will be taking it to the track. But the Aston Martin of Sparks was able to just get out ahead. But, you know, it doesn't matter if you get out on track first. It just matters what your lap time is and how you perform in the race ultimately as well.
Thanks so much for that, Tim. Great to have you take over the lead for a few moments. Just make sure that I can try and continue through uninterrupted through the coverage. But yeah, we like you were explaining, we reset the times right now, and it's all fair. It's all time to just go again. Should be 2 clear runs for the drivers, hopefully, all being well. I know we've seen Mad Trav not start from pole a couple of times already due to perhaps pushing a little bit too hard in these sessions. So we'll see how his approach is today. As you say, he's not necessarily first on track. I think actually Sparks is just in front of him on the track. So definitely interesting to see these two fastest drivers through the first few sessions, at least in similar trim, will tackle these next 2 runs.
And going back on what you said just there, is 2 of the fastest drivers on track at the moment between Mad Trav and Sparks. Let's not forget that this is Sparks' debut today for SAF1 Esports. So already we see him with potential to get points, which is already impressive enough on your debut. But just imagine if Sparks were able to have a battle, or better yet, even beat our current points leader of Mad Trap today.
Yeah, that's what he's been brought in to do, though. That's the purpose of trying to bring Sparks in. We had an open seat, and we went on the hunt for someone to bring the battle to Mad Trav, and that's exactly what we want to see. Sparks, as you say, not only is this his debut, but I think he's only 15 years old as well, so an absolute prodigy. And if this is the first time you've been watching Sparks, remember his name, because I don't doubt you will see him feature heavily in esports in the years to come.
And riding on board with Sparks now, as he is the first driver to start a flying lap, and the card really does just look incredibly stable and very smooth. And you know that has to do with setup, and that has to do with the driver behind the wheel as well. But Sparks is very consistent every time I see him hitting his marks, and he flirts with those track limits, but really does not exceed them. And I can even hear your excitement through there.
Oh, fantastic.
But now going through Maggots and Beckett's, and I honestly think that he takes Maggots and Beckett's better than Mad Trav does.
Oh, well, we'll try and do a side-by-side comparison maybe, but I'm watching with Sparks for this first lap, and we'll see how they compare. Mad Trav is a little bit further back, but on the hanger straight behind him, so maybe gaining a little bit as the lap finishes up. Sparks then looking to set the standard for this final session. Of course, this is where the cars are absolutely alive. A 26.458 for Sparks. Mad Trav can manage a 4.66, Tim. Wow.
Well, we did say that we were going to possibly see hundredths, if not thousands, of a second separating lap times, and that's exactly what we're seeing today so far. Great
call there. Yeah, I'm just watching Top Dog as Aimee and Quintin go in. Top Dog's teammate Neil gets third. Top Dog in sixth place, then 27.2, and you can see that this is now where the drivers are really going for it. Simps is about halfway around the lap. No, he's just starting his first lap, excuse me. Calvin at 29.0. He's already commented in the chat. He keeps spinning today, so needs some improvement on his setup perhaps. Simps, though, we will watch with his lap as he comes so close to invalidating through the apex of the village corner, and then down into Brooklands. Now you can take such a late apex through here, and then through into Luffield, and just waiting for the traction to grip in, the car to finally balance, and you can start applying the throttle through Woodcut. And now waiting for the turn into to Copse. I once heard David Coulthard remark that you actually aim at the Armco on the inside of Copse. You don't aim at the apex because you have to anticipate the loss of grip on the way through there, Tim.
And I guess David Coulthard would know, but honestly, you got to think, imagine the discipline, just the self-discipline that would take to aim for what you said, the Armco barrier instead of the apex. Because not only is it going to be instinct to aim for the apex, you just don't want to aim for the Armco barrier.
No, absolutely. You're anticipating a certain amount of give in the tyre, and you're driving right on the limit of your nerves and the capability of the car, and that's why these corners are so very famous around the world, featuring nearly every game that can possibly license the use of Silverstone, because it's such a popular circuit. Of course, plenty of classic tracks around, plenty of times that we can go out there and enjoy it. And frankly, I get just as much enjoyment, Tim, from watching drivers right on the ragged edge and driving, as we saw Sparks and Mad Trav through that Sector 2, as I do from seeing overtakes. And I suppose that explains why I've been a fan of F1 for so long.
And as a NASCAR fan who is now a Formula One fan as well, it has definitely been quite the journey, a 3-year journey, I'd say now, as I started watching in 2019. So it's been a big difference, and I knew that there was going to be a huge difference between the two disciplines, but the more I learn, the more interested I get. Yeah, I have to. I've only watched a few NASCAR races myself, so it's an area I need to spend a bit more time on to fully appreciate the subtleties. I know that there are so many, it's such fine margins, and how what I love about NASCAR is how great a degree experience plays in a driver's performance, and sort of learned knowledge.
it's very difficult to go quick as a rookie in that discipline.
That it is, but I would argue that it's likely just difficult to go quick as a rookie regardless. I mean, the way I see it, that no matter what argument you want to make for a driver, whether they're a paid driver and they've been riding on daddy's money, or maybe they just got sponsorship or whatever, if you're going to get into the top tier of your respective division, you are not clueless. You definitely deserve to be there. You don't get there by just twiddling your thumbs all day.
Yeah.
The question is, how do you compare to the stars of that division?
Yeah, definitely. Always good to see the difference between youth and experience on play in our motorsport. We see it in our esports as well. But Duckster currently somewhat outside of the norm when it comes to the strategy here. I think possibly just going for one run alone on the track. Navigating Chapel, will he keep it just about within the track limits and gets a purple middle sector? Actually, Duckster perhaps favouring a little bit of downforce there versus top speed, but nice to see. We'll see where that results. Of course, he put in a great time in Q2, but I thought perhaps he was slightly flattered by the tyre difference, but currently performing well. Let's see what he crosses the line at. 26.9. That's a good time, Tim. Good time from Duckster.
Now just waiting to see if Simpson's going to be able to get out there. Then we can have all 10 drivers with the lap time on the board, but not a big margin separating these 9 drivers so far. Of course, a 126.458 with Sparks up front, and then a 127.669 for Calvin in 9th place at the moment.
Yeah, Jaime Alonso is on his next run, and that the final runs are beginning. This is where the drivers can really push the car, especially if they've got a top 5 time in the bank already. So 26.9 for Duckster, and Jaime right on the bubble of the 26 club. A 400th improvement so far, and he's done half the job he needs to get into that 26 club, and now in the Alfa Romeo trying to get himself 1 or 2 places higher perhaps. Quinton, I know, is behind him on track. I'll check out where he is. So we just watch Jaime Alonso go through Copse nicely, and Quinton slightly over his time in fact through there. So Jaime looking more likely to improve his position than Quinton through the first sector. The car gripped up nicely on the way through Chapel. Now 5, nearly 600ths of a second faster. It's all or nothing in the final sector. Then expect fireworks regardless of what happens. He throws it through Stowe, gets the car all the way to the right just in time for Vale and Club, and then begging the car to grip up as he goes into the final group. It's 126.9, a 1.5 improvement, but he stays 5th. Crucially, Quinton has made a massive gain, Tim, through sector 2.
And we'll see what kind of lap time Quinton can lay down for us here in the Red Bull. This will likely be his final attempt, though he can go again if he wants to. But going through the final corner, Quinton crosses the line. He goes to third, a 126.824. Brilliant
stuff as the Alpha Tauri pair towing each other down. Neil goes faster still at 26.333, a provisional pole position for Neil as he tows his teammate through the final corners as well. So I wonder if there'll be a little bit of cooperation. Top Dog starting his next lap. I wonder maybe did Top Dog assist Neil there through that lap and is hoping for a kickback on his next attempt. Tiago though out there on his own and just slowly bringing the tyres up to temperature. Surprising me a little bit. I'm not expecting drivers to be going quite so slowly, but we've got outlaps from Sparks and Madtrav, and we'll try and track them as soon as possible. Top Dog, though, has gone past his teammate, so no major work. Maybe a little bit of help down the Wellington Straight, but he won't get any further help through this lap. Very difficult to play the team game for more than just one main straight DRS move, but Top Dog through sector 2 is 1/10 slower than he's been before, so perhaps not likely to improve at this stage. But we've got action on track already from those fast guys, Madtrav and Sparks. I'll stick with Madtrav and see him on the hunt. I don't know about you, Tim, but yeah, try and give them equal billing as far as possible here.
Well, we'll see what Sparks is able to do while you watch Madtrap. But so far, Sparks, he is in the second sector, and his best time, a 126.458 still. And wow, really using a lot of that curve. Actually played with touching the grass there for a little bit. So something going on with Sparks here, but still looking very, very fast as he goes through Maggots and Beckett's. And that car, it just seems like it is on a rail around here as DRS Neal has decided that enough is enough. But with the provisional pole position, who can really blame him? The only two drivers, arguably, that are at risk of knocking him down is Sparks and Madtrap, as Sparks goes through Stoke Corner now, and not a purple second sector that time that I could see, but he's got the third and final sector to deal with. Let's see what he's able to do. He's got one more corner to go, and he crosses the line, and he will go not enough.
Well, Madtrap is on. He's got a purple middle. An invalidation through Stowe. Sadly, Madtrap unable to take the battle to Sparks, but they are so close. And in fact, neither of them are going to go faster than Neal, who blitzes the pair. Madtrap was on for a near 2/10 improvement and possibly pole when he went through and completed that lap. But unfortunately, the drivers that have dominated Qs 1 and 2 and the majority of Q3 were bested by Neal, and that's exactly what we want to see. Sparks, however, being given the pole position. I'm unsure about that. He must have clicked that through right at the death there, Tim. A 26.180 fastest for Sparks. On my screen, at least, it was showing Neal as fastest, but Neal gets second place in the AlphaTauri. Simps in third. Madtrap pushed down to fourth place after a confusingly timed session, frankly. Quintin in fifth. Top Dog, Duckster, Aimee, Calvin and Tiago making up your top 10. But I'm not quite sure what went down there, Tim.
Yeah, the time did not update for me either, so it looked as though Sparks just did not improve his lap time, but then it looked like Sparks was going to continue on a flying lap, only to then not be able to do so, which rightfully so. The qualifying session was over, and then we come to learn that he actually did run a 126.180, which I'm going to say is just an absolutely flying lap. To be honest, that is stellar, but why it didn't update for us, I have no idea.
Right, exactly. I think there's some sort of timing glitch went down there that just caused an issue for us. But never mind, we did get our standings. Sparks got the pole. We've been asked to have a short intermission from Hamrick. He has an urgent need, but he'll be back hopefully in time for the formation lap. By my reckoning, Tim, soft tyres here are only going to last around 14 laps. I don't know if you've seen different, but yeah, you're right. We're straight into the formation lap. Nobody was patient for Hamrick.
And you know, that's actually a big detriment to really most drivers, because it does not give them enough time to set their strategy. Because when you are put on the grid, these cars are usually overfueled by about 2 laps. So not only do you have to adjust your fuel, but if you don't like the strategy that Jeff gives you, and let's be honest, most of us don't, then you have to change that as well.
Yeah, definitely. Well, out there on medium tyres will be Sparks and Neal. Simps slightly flattered by his qualifying on the soft tyres through Q2, but did in the end beat Madtrap, and he'll be very pleased about that, I'm sure, given that he was being asked to completely leave the session altogether. So I'm sure he'll be pretty pleased that he stuck with it. But all the same, let's see how this one works out. So the majority of the field on softs. I'm surprised to see so many drivers, Tim, choose softs outside of the top 10.
And, you know, in a way I am too, but then in another way you got to think that can give you a huge benefit if the drivers around you start on mediums, but that's the thing, you don't know what that other driver is going to do, and I'm almost wondering if more people expected everyone else to be on mediums, and so they thought that they were thinking a step ahead when really everyone was.
Yeah, absolutely. Very interesting to see how this one all works its way out in the end for our session. Let's wait and see, though. So predicting around 13 to 15 laps, ideally around 14, the maximum life on the softs for my experience on the game at least. But I'm no driver, and it all depends on your driving style and your preferences. The formation lap is almost done. We will see sparks from Neil and Simps and Madtrav. Madtrav, remember, leading our championship. So let's see what race pace is compared to quali pace for the drivers. The McLaren's looking to make a much better showing than they managed in qualifying. Dom Rabico, currently I think it was third in the championship, starts 16th all the way down there, and McLaren needing those points to keep their lead of the Constructors' Championship, perhaps the most closely matched pairing we have on the grid. But the cars look to have arranged themselves in grid order. I think we'll be underway very shortly for you. I'm just trying to get a good camera. Sparks will start on the outside as they approach Abbey. It's lights out. It's go, go, go. Round 6 of the championship. And Sparks leads away from pole. Gets a great start. And looks like the drivers just organising themselves quite well. It's usually down into farm that we see the most fireworks. But I think we've got Calvin moving up. Madtrav being quite circumspect at this early stage. And they navigate now farm fairly comfortably. Just a little touch between Quintin and Duxter on the way through there. Quintin has the inside as they approach Brooklands, but Duxter switches back, will try and hang out there on the inside. I think there's another touch between these guys. You've got to be careful making too much contact with the league owner Quintin through the corners, but Duxter just about tucks in behind. So it's Sparks, Neil, Simps, Madtrav, Top Dog as they started and safely through the first corner. I don't know if you saw anything different from further back there, Tim.
Diego Maestro, he's been on a bit of a roller coaster ride ever since the race started, and you know what? It's not even one lap complete yet. He started in 10th, finds himself in 13th. He's already had quite a bit of contact with a few other drivers, and it's not that the fact that he has ran into him, it's just that he's found himself in gaps that have all of a sudden closed without him having enough time to really react to them. But so far, he does not have any wing damage, at least not visible wing damage. Somehow, he has been able to keep that car clean, despite literally being in the middle of a 3-wide situation. And when I say the middle, I mean like the cream in between the Oreo cookies. Yeah,
quite the opposite kind of a first lap, though, for Don Rabico, up 4 places, as was Hamrick, as was Vino. So very much a tale of two
and
fortunes.
Contact is Vino for real is trying to get around the outside of Diego Maestro, but not able to do so. But that saw him take a little bit of a trip through the gravel, somehow able to get back on track.
Yeah, it looks like the field's still pretty closely spread. Nothing too dramatic. But, whoa, Vino losing it again. And I think Xander completely in sympathy almost and having to take avoiding action as Vino was drifting through the corner. Looks like Xander was caught up into that as well. As they start lap 2, as they start lap 3. It's lap 2, we're halfway through. I've got the wrong start-finish grid. Sparks leads from Neil, Simps and Madtrav. Top Dog, Quintin have exchanged places, and then Duxter and Calvin. Don Rabico continues his climb now, 6 places up inside of 2 laps. He's absolutely on it. I seem to remember he was on those soft tyres, and they're working for him right now.
So just watching Vino for real pretty much dropped far back. Almost wondering if maybe there's some wing damage on that McLaren, but he does seem to be able to get a run on Matty here down the hanger straight. And this is a 3-car battle between Vino for real, Zardy, and Matty. And wow, look at Zardy really being aggressive, trying to take the fight to these drivers, but just automatically could not get through the Stowe corner as well as both of those drivers could. It's almost like, Zardy is just really not up to it at the moment. It's almost like he backed out of it, got a little bit scared there, but now he's got the fight back to Vino for real. But you see Matty in the Red Bull pretty much just pulling away now.
You do indeed. I can see up the front Alpha Tauri making a good showing of themselves at this early stage of the race, 2nd and 5th. Quintin trying to get back on terms with Top Dog, who got the best of him in the first few laps. The tyres starting now to get up to temperature. Hamrick's gone in the pits, and I think he's putting on hard tyres, so making that early gamble. It's still a long way for hard tyres to go, 23 laps. Might still require a little bit of tyre preservation. Now Top Dog dropping back from Madtrav, who is trying to stay within the DRS of Simps before they finally get that given to them at the start of the next lap. So Top Dog starting to form a little bit of a train behind him. We've got Quintin first, who will have the first opportunity to use that DRS fresh from the car in front. Then Duckster, Calvin, Fudge, Dom Rabico all behind, and I can't get over just how good a start Dom Rabico has had as Madtrav down into Stowe gets the job done on Simps. So Madtrav up to P3 and still very much within sight of the win tonight.
Been watching Duckster, and he is slowly getting close to Quintin. I mean, the problem here, though, is that they are stuck in a DRS train, so you really cannot go anywhere when you're stuck in that DRS train. You're very much at the mercy of aerodynamics, and that is never a good thing. But Duckster, wow, some car just went off. That was Calvin, who went way off and into the gravel trap. So unfortunately for Calvin Racing, he's going to have to find his way back on track in the 14th position. As I'll go back to Duckster here and watch his battle with Quintin just ahead of him. But you see just ahead of Quintin, Top Dog in the Alpha Tauri trying to break that slipstream so Quintin can't take advantage of it. But at this point, I don't think it matters. Quintin is just faster than the Alpha Tauri driver.
Yeah, great to catch up with those drivers. Right now, the top three and top four, pulling away and very much driving their own pace here. Three of them on mediums. Simps trying to stay with them on softs. Of course, he's on the less good strategy, but it's working out so far for those top three. Sparks, Neil, Madtrav still within half a second of each other as they then tackle the hanger straight for the first time with DRS, and the first car will be Neil, although Madtrav's drive through Chapel was astonishing, frankly, and he's got the outside line as they go towards Stowe Corner. He's got one overtake done there tonight. He was forced very wide as they made contact mid-corner, and now looking in his mirrors to Simps behind, but he just about kept the car in the right direction. You give benefit of the doubt goes to Neil. Of course, his connection is pretty weak, certainly on my screen, so Madtrav needs to make sure it's a high percentage move at this point.
And while you're watching that, I've been watching Duckster still have a bit of an up-and-down day. Fudge was able to get around him, and then he got back around Fudge down the hanger straightaway. And now you see the Alpine driver pulling away from the Ferrari, but it really seems like Duckster is better in the third sector, while Fudge, he might be better in that second sector. And in the first sector, it's completely up for grabs between the two of them.
Definitely, definitely. Well, yeah, like I say, these top four really pulling away from each other. I don't want to cut away from them because I'm just expecting something to happen any moment. Greetings to Relu, who joins us in the chat, one of our Finnish commentating colleagues, who I would love to hear some of Finnish commentary going on. I have to find when he's next online and watch. But great to have you with us. I hope you're enjoying the broadcast tonight out here in Silverstone. This is SAF1. It's season 4, the first 3 seasons of which have been won by Madtrav, and Madtrav is currently third in the race, first in the championship, and hounding Neil. But Neil's DRS on the back of Sparks absolutely helping him to defend from Madtrav, and despite the fact that Madtrav is getting out of Chapel so much better than Neil.
And it's very crucial that DRS, Neil, ironically enough, stays close to Sparks because he does need that DRS. Otherwise, Madtrav would have absolutely swallowed him down that straightaway. Yeah,
definitely. Madtrav has got some great technique through the Maggots-Beckett's Chapel sequence. The field's starting to spread out. We have 2 groups, a group of 4 that we're watching. Then a group led by Quintin, who got past Top Dog, I think, in previous lap possibly. So Quintin, our league owner, and I know I've called him Supreme Leader before, but that was only in jest. He is half a second better to the good against Top Dog. Duckster, as you say, I know you've been watching Duckster closely, in 7th. Fudge and Dom Rabico with them, and then another 3 seconds back to another group: Tiago, Notsumi, Zardi, Matti, then a gap to Calvin, Zander, Vino, Aimee Alonso and Hamrick, who have all had issues on these early laps. But anything else that you're seeing that I'm missing at this point, Tim?
Nothing that you're missing, but I do want to comment that Don Rabico, you were impressed with his start. I'm impressed with his start as well, already finding himself up into the 9th position.
Here comes Madtrav.
And for those of you who...
Sorry, into Stowe. Madtrav finally making a use of all of that exit speed through Chapel, getting the job done perfectly. Please continue, Tim.
and almost simultaneously, Don Rabico was making the move over Fudge in the Ferrari. But Don Rabico, for those of you who may have just joined this stream and don't know where he started almost dead last, and he already finds himself in the 8th position after 7 laps. Only 7 laps. This man had a start from the heavens, and the racing gods are just smiling upon him.
Definitely, yeah. Neil now looking to try and recover his momentum. Momentarily looked as if he was going to be under attack from Simps, but just about holding that off. I wonder if Neil is going to be the cork in the bottle for these two at the front to really go for it. Now 0.3 of a second separating the top two, and they were the fastest in the majority of our qualifying session. Take nothing away from Neil and Simps, who qualified beautifully up there with them, but I'm still expecting Madtrav and Sparks to really be the ones, be the Hamilton and the Verstappen in this championship already, and certainly in Silverstone today.
And you didn't see it, but Simps just had a big moment, and by a big moment, I mean that he almost spun the car into the wall. He has been flirting, just before you go through Copse Corner, he has really been, or actually just through Copse Corner, he has been flirting with that exit.
Madtrav
really
for the lead again into Stowe, excuse me, but there he goes, taking the lead. Fantastic stuff. One of these laps, someone's going to see him coming, but for now, Sparks, vulnerable, left the gap on the inside, and Madtrav, just that exit from Chapel and momentum down the Hanger Straight, absolutely profiting him lap after lap, and he takes the lead on lap 8.
And while Simps has issues with the exit of Copse, Madtrav has no issues with the entry of Stowe Corner.
Yeah.
As you rightfully saw, Madtrav overtaking Sparks for the lead now, and I'm wondering, is he just going to pull away, and is it going to be the Madtrav show now?
Maybe. We'll see what Sparks has got. How much of the tyre have each driver left? Obviously, we've seen Madtrav have to work the wheel a little bit harder. He's been battling. Sparks has been out there in the front and didn't fight that one too hard. He knows that the race is still only less than a third complete, and he will definitely have his mind on the overall race time. In fact, goes very wide through Copse. We did see Madtrav struggle into Brooklands and Luffield, but through Copse it was definitely Sparks starting to wiggle around a little bit. I'm surprised to see these medium runners run out of grip at this early stage. I was expecting Simps to be the one, as now Sparks with the DRS takes the outside as they head towards the Stowe Corner, but Madtrav just using the middle of the road, as is his absolute right to do, and it's not the widest of circuits, Silverstone, so using the middle can be very advantageous.
But at the same time, also very frustrating for the driver behind you, who's just trying to find a hole to get through. But like you said, he does have a right to defend, and it's nothing dirty that we're seeing. It's just really hard racing, and something has happened to Fudge. Yeah, we've seen a retirement, and Fudge is out of the race. I'll try and have a look and see if we are risking a safety car potentially as Xander goes by. No, it's the exit of the Vale Corner, entry to Club. And I think he's well off the racing line, so I think we're going to avoid any caution period beyond just a waved yellow at Sector 3. Meanwhile, Sparks just used the DRS to get close to Madtrav, but not quite close enough for an overtake, but he is really flirting with that distance, keeping it less than half a second, most times less than 0.4 of a second between these drivers. But we are seeing a 4-car battle still between Madtrav, Sparks, Neil, and Simps. And wow, Simps going wide once again out of Copse.
Yeah, he likes that line, doesn't he? It's it's definitely paying dividends for him. He's not giving up too many warnings. If he just blends the throttle slightly, you can... in apex speed you lose in exit, but here comes Sparks then, DRS enabled in the Aston Martin. He shapes to the inside. Madtrav's buying none of that dummy, and he uses it very comfortably. They both go towards the safety, towards the pit lane, but no, it was Madtrav who pitted, and Sparks stayed out. The other three in that top 4 battle all pitted there, Tim.
And the safety car, it is for Vino for real, who is stopped, I actually think, just near the entry of the exit of the first sector and the entry of the second sector. Not sure what happened to the McLaren driver, unfortunately, but I'm kind of questioning Sparks' decision to stay out, because there's going to be a lot of fresh tires behind him.
Yeah, absolutely. He's pretty convinced about his strategy. Hard tyres for Quintin, hard tyres for Mad Trav. Maybe Sparks just isn't interested in running the hard tyre at all, and that's pretty much the only option open to you should you pit right now off the mediums. So maybe he's fairly keeping in mind that there could be further safety car situations. Hard tyres though, as I say, Mad Trav, Neil and Quintin. Medium tyres which hopefully would reach the end for Simps from here, especially if they do stay under the safety car conditions for a while. But it's Matty who takes up second place from a lot further back in the order. In fact, yeah, starting I think 15th, and as things shake right now under the safety car, gaining 13 overall. Don Rabico, despite the safety car, has still gained 8 up into 8th place.
So Sparks, Matty, Mad Trav, your top 3, with Neil and Simps, your top 5, Quintin, Top Dog, Don Rabico, Duckster, and Diego Maestro, your top 10. Those are the point scoring drivers at the moment, or at least the top 10 point scoring drivers.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a good moment as any to thank our sponsors, DR Developments, Quintessential Photo and Video Works, and Arabico Holdings. And also to have a look at the penalty situation. Noshimi has gained 8 seconds, Zadi 5, and Aimi Alonso 5. They will all get reduced in the pits, the next pit stop, but Xander will not get any reduction from his 3-second penalty so far. And not expecting to finish with so few penalties. I think once the tyres start to die at the end of the race, we will see drivers catch warning after warning and end up with further penalties to play. But I hope that the front of the field remain penalty free, because it does make our life a lot easier, Tim.
Well, one driver that I'm surprised does not have a lot of warnings, or actually probably does have a lot of warnings, but I'm surprised does not have a time penalty, is the Haas of Simps there in the 5th position. You were talking about how he likes that wide line out of Cops. Well, you know what they call that line, right? The steward's paycheck. Yeah, absolutely. We certainly hope that that he manages to rein it in, and it was just a temporary issue for him on the soft tyres. 3-second penalty given to Hamrick under safety car conditions. Somewhat of a surprise to me out there at the foot of the field. I think he's racing round to catch back up to the grid and just overdid it slightly, unfortunately for him. And that's one of those penalties that I feel is unjustified, but unfortunately we don't have the power to control that, and I do wish that we did have the ability to do live stewarding so that we could have a third person here with us to really make those calls. So you and I could be commentators, and then someone else could be a steward, but unfortunately we don't have that ability, so the 3-second time penalty has to stand. Whether it's right or wrong, who's to say, because it's there now and we can't do anything about it.
Yeah, completely agree. It's just the way it is. Unfortunately, you have to play within the rules, and I'm sure that if we did have a race director, we would have all sorts of accusations of bias or breaking or creating of rules. So it perhaps it's better to let the algorithms take care of it, and we just live with the situation as we find it, perhaps leading to fewer arguments. Of course, we can all blame Jeff and we can all blame Codemasters when things don't run correctly.
I blame Jeff personally.
Yeah.
I blame Jeff for everything. I blame Jeff for pretty much every negative thing that happens in the world.
Nice.
Just being very extreme there.
So
but yeah,
thanks Jeff is the new thanks Obama meme, perhaps, for those guys in the know, maybe. And that's as far as I will risk any kind of political comment. Vino has left the session, unfortunately. We're going to be back underway racing as Sparks takes the responsibility as race leader, but he's already gone. And actually, I think he's going to be quite close to overtaking the safety car before we hit the start-finish line. Be quite careful here. But he's got it by the safety car control line, knows his way around the track, knows his way around the regulations, and has opened up a 1.5 second lead already just as they enter Abbey. Now, Madtrav close behind Matty, but that really spread the field out and has given very few opportunities out there, Tim.
And that medium tire strategy that Sparks is sticking with is starting to look a little bit better, because it is going to take quite a few laps for Matt Trav to get those tires up to the optimal temperature before he can really start laying down some fast laps, while Sparks tires are already at that optimal temperature. Now, granted, they do have 11 laps on them, so before too long they are going to start to fall off. But that doesn't change the fact that Matt Trav has a little bit of chasing to do before those hard tires really feel good.
Yeah, for me, Sparks only needs to make a couple more laps, and then the softs will be a viable change for him through to the end of the race. Simps is looking good. Simps is looking very quick on fresh mediums versus hard tyres ahead. And how many times, Tim, have we seen drivers struggle on a restart with hard tyres?
Oh, we have seen it quite a few times, and I think that we are seeing it now. However, Matt Trav, even though he's struggling, he is still at least fairly fast, and you see him actually gaining on Matty down the hanger straight there. Now, remember, there is no DRS at this moment in time, so that was just raw pace that you saw from Matt Trav.
Yeah, I affirm that. Well, Simps, likewise, it's a bit of a guessing game as to who's going to make the first move. Will it be Simps or will it be Matt Trav on Neil and Matty respectively as they go through and start the halfway point of the race, lap 13, seeing Sparks still in the lead, having yet to pit, and still on plan A as far as strategy is concerned. Matty looking to close in to be defending against Matt Trav, I should say, as Simps getting a very good drive out of the village corner. Let's see what Matt Trav has got. Nowhere near close enough on the way into Brooklands. Similarly for Simps. And all this is doing is allowing Sparks to build that gap, Tim.
And it is just the worst nightmare for Matt Trav, isn't it, Webbo? Because Matt Trav, arguably you could say that he did not have this race won, but he certainly had a good chance of doing so. Now that chance is dwindling ever so slightly, especially when you take into consideration that when Sparks comes back out after his pit stop, he's going to be on a fresh set of soft tires, which is going to be a massive difference between the hard tires that Matt Trav finds himself on now.
Yeah, down the hanger straight they go. Still waiting for DRS to be enabled, of course, giving the opportunity to drivers to just extend the gap as far as possible. We've got Top Dog close to the back of Quintin once again, Dom Rabico close to the back of him, and then Xander close to Calvin. Very much a guessing game, as I mentioned, knowing who's going to make the first move, but I'll try and stick with the front 5 cars, as Matt Trav very, very close as they head towards the farm right-hander, and then through the left tight hairpin. You can see the difference in grip that Matt Trav has got, despite the difference in tyre delta that they've got there. And so Matt Trav right up behind the Red Bull, and I think we'll make short work of this one into Brooklands and very cleanly through. Simps unable to make a move on Neil just yet.
But Matt Trav, he has found his way around Matty, and into the second position goes the Mercedes driver. Matty now holding up the rest of the field behind him on those old medium tires. DRS Neil trying to find a way around that Red Bull driver, and Simps following him through. Let's see what kind of line Simps takes through Cops. This time he has been able to reel it in, so Simps starting to get a little bit of a feel for that car. But as they go through Maggots and Beckett's, Simps having a little bit of trouble, but really is at the mercy of the 2 cars ahead of him. And Matty very slow through there, but now the DRS is open for Neil and Simps as well, so Matty's going to be a bit of a sitting duck here, but he somehow got DRS off of Matt Trav as well, so he's at least able to defend somewhat, but not enough, as you see the AlphaTauri of DRS Neil go straight through, and Matty now fighting hard with Simps, who just barely missed out on that opportunity, but goes around the outside, making it look very easy. Matty drops down to 5th.
Yeah, Simps got Matty as well, so Matty 2 places down in the space of a single sector of the racetrack. 3.3 seconds was the gap at the front when Matt Trav took that second place. It's now 3.1, and I'm looking to spot a trend here. I think their grip is going to be somewhat similar, Tim, 14 lap-old mediums versus 4 lap-old hards, but as the laps tick by, it's always going to favour Matt Trav here.
At least it's going to for now, and I am wondering, though, when Sparks decides to pit, which honestly I think should be sooner rather than later, so that he can not really get an undercut, but still not have to deal with those old tires. I do wonder how much the gap is going to be between the Mercedes and the Aston Martin, because I don't believe it would be an insurmountable gap that Sparks has to deal with. But as you say, now that Matt Trav has gotten into the second position and he has semi-clean air ahead of him, you see that gap dropping ever so slightly.
Yeah, they're certainly on terms with one another right now, but Simps will now have the best opportunity in front of him, because Neil is trying to stay within DRS of Mad Trav. He momentarily blipped under the 1 second mark, and in fact he managed it. So Simps is going to have to get this done on the brakes into Stowe, but he can't get it done. It's not a big braking event. Not Shumi has left the session as well, so his AI, I think, will be taking over. I think that's a disco situation. Quintin has been released by Matty. Matty will now try and hold up Top Dog and let Quintin get away for an optimal Red Bull finish strategy. But yeah, currently Neil staying within DRS, and that's crucial to holding off Simps. Simps will not be able to believe his luck, because he's been in this situation, the second car with DRS, most of the race.
And the DRS train, it's just such a painful thing to deal with. It's painful to watch, it's painful to experience, and it's just because you're not seeing the overtakes that you know could otherwise happen. And of course Simps once again having to deal with that DRS train, and it's just such a shame that we have to deal with. But it looks like there might be a little bit of a battle going on for the 10th position, as Calvin has just now overtaken Not Shumi for that 10th position battle, and now he has his sights set on Don Ravico, who is a whopping 7.5 seconds ahead of him. But Don Ravico stuck in a DRS train of his own with Duckster and Top Dog just ahead of him.
Yeah, we'll just check that out in a moment. But again, these two groups, the fastest 4 and the next sort of 5 or 6 cars, have found their pace back again, and it's matching very similarly as it was before the safety car. But yeah, we can see all 4 cars there heading, 5 cars heading down the hangar straight in the second group, led by Quintin, then Matty, Top Dog, Duckster and Dom Rabico right at the back of this group, but on slightly different tyres. Now Matty goes in the pits, and this is the point, I think, where he will be able to put on softs and go to the end of the race. So this is pretty crucial, because we might see a similar option from Sparks shortly, but he needs the field to spread out a little bit further. I think he wants to get into that gap behind Simps if he can.
And I think that Sparks, he might be coming in this lap, because if you watch, he has really kicked it into high gear. 3.4 seconds now separating him and Mad Trav. He is really getting a lot faster. So it's almost like this is going to be his in lap, and he knows he has to gain every bit of advantage that he can while he can, because he's going to have a tall ladder to climb once he comes back out of the pits. It doesn't matter that he's going to be on a fresh set of softs. That's going to bode well for him, but he still has to run Mad Trav down.
Yeah, good catch in terms of pace there. It could well be, to use the modern parlance, hammer time for Sparks. This is where it counts. This is where we're making it work. And yeah, he's gaining a 10th. He's spending away the the ERS, and trying to stretch that lead as far as possible. And it's going to be really crucial where he comes out of the pits and how many cars he has to overtake. I'll just have a quick look at the gap to the leader, and I think it's going to be possibly P10 that he finds himself. He goes by the pits, so it could be a 2-lap hammer time maybe.
Maybe so, because yeah, you're right, Sparks not going into the pit lane this time, but you know, if he feels good on those tires, then I completely understand why. And, you know, the lower the fuel that's in the car, the less wear those tires have to deal with. Now, granted, these tires have been on there since the beginning of the race, so the fact that he's still running the laps that he is, I have to say, is quite impressive. But Sparks, sooner rather than later, we will see him diving down into the pits.
Yeah, definitely. Just tried to watch on board with him a little bit. He's not looking ragged, but then the best drivers tend not to look particularly out of control. He's coming up to put a lap on Hamrick, who is currently racing under AI conditions. I don't think because he's being lapped, but simply some sort of disconnection. An update from Fudge in the paddock. He has let us know that unfortunately a situation with domestic arrangements has intervened, and he did the right and honourable thing and retired in the pits. So unfortunately his race has come to a premature end. He will not pick up points for tonight for not finishing. So Sparks currently still working hard to try and keep that gap alive. He's currently got 3.6 seconds, but that safety car has really interfered with his next move. Simps gets past Neil in the hangar straight into Stowe, but unfortunately picked up a penalty on the outside in so doing. So he's got the track position, but he's now got a big job to do.
And Sparks has bypassed the pit entry once again, so he's staying out for at least one more lap, 18 laps on those medium tires. Matrav 3.7 seconds behind, and Simps starting to close in on Matrav now. So this actually could be the best thing for Sparks, and I'll tell you right now, if Simps is somehow able to hold up Matrav even just a little bit, I'd say that he's going to be Sparks' new best friend.
Yeah, I think Sparks probably waiting for a caution period and hoping for a caution period. But unfortunately, the laps from which he's able to recover using those soft tyres are reducing as he uses up those medium tyres. So the point at which you stop waiting and you just have to go for it is definitely nearing now for Sparks. He doesn't want to leave too many more laps to run in order to make the best use of those soft tyre pace.
Tim's gaining a little bit there on the entry of the Maggots and Beckett's to Matrav. Of course, not a place that you're going to overtake, so there was no jeopardy there of Matrav losing second place, but there might be a little bit of a jeopardy of him losing second place this time around down the hangar straight. But Matrav has been so strong down this straightaway, and it is going to be no different this time. Does Sparks go into the pits, though? I think he... Oh, my goodness, I don't know what's going on with Sparks today.
Yeah. I can only explain that he is hoping and praying for a safety car or virtual safety car period to try and wait this one out. But yeah, he's run now I think 20 laps on this same set of tyres. 20th lap he has certainly begun anyway, and still maintaining great pace out there.
And now 3.2 a second separating Sparks and Matrav. So really, Sparks, he has lost his opportunity that he worked so hard to build up, and it just does not make sense to me what is going on in Sparks' mind. I mean, at this point, I wouldn't doubt that he could stretch those medium tires to the end. Unfortunately for him, you cannot do that. You have to use two different compounds in the race, and obviously he knows that as well as anybody, which is another reason why it's so puzzling to me that he has stayed out as long as he has, and he just went very wide out of Cops, which put him in jeopardy of losing even more time. Lucky for him, he actually gained it, but for how long is that going to last?
Yeah, these tyres are definitely starting to fade. He's got a lap car in between them. I suppose now he might as well stay out, and if he's going to feed back out, way out of the contention for the lead. Oh, and he's picked up a penalty.
3-second time penalty by going wide.
Now he pits, and unfortunately it's definitely a lap too late in terms of grip and picking up Stewart's warnings. So it could be all Matrav's way here. He could have it all his own way as Matrav now resumes the lead of the race. He had it very shortly before the pit stops after making an overtake on Sparks down into Stowe Corner, but Sparks currently P8. And I think that's where he's likely to feed out, if not further back. Now on fresh soft tyres, and it'll be a banzai few laps, but there's just too much track position to regain.
Yeah, and you know, that was honestly the biggest missed opportunity I think that he's going to have to deal with for quite a long time, and that is going to hurt for a long time, because if he'd have pitted 1 or 2 laps sooner, then I really do believe that he might have at least stood a chance to catch Matrav. Now granted, the safety car did not help him, but I do have to admit that the strategy was very interesting, and personally I think that it could have worked. Trying to stay out and hold out for the soft tires makes sense.
Yeah, it certainly had its possibilities. Let's not forget that Matrav pitted in front of Sparks, so Sparks had the same opportunity Matrav had, but declined that opportunity to go into the pits. So he can't necessarily say that it was unfair in terms of the safety car. It was less than ideal, but he could have minimised his risk of getting a wrong decision by making the same choice as the cars around him, but he gambled, and unfortunately maybe one of those days that the gamble just doesn't pay off. We have still got a battle for the lead out there though, a three-way battle for the podium. Simps might get it on the road. He's certainly looking quick on those medium tyres right now, and Neil behind him, all within range of Simps' penalty, even if Simps does take the lead.
And DRS Neil, of course, like you said, they're in third place, but of course we do expect him to inherit that second position. The question is, though, is where will Simps end up after the rest of it, which, you know, looking at the time interval, it does look very, very likely that Simps will be able to hold on to the podium, especially since Quentin in fourth place does have a time penalty as well. In fact, to give you an update on that, it is 3 seconds for Quentin and Simps both, so Simps is pretty much racing for third at the moment, but I'm sure that he would like to get by Matrav on track so he could at least say that he would have won.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, and I have on the very rare occasion seen a driver able to get a 3-second penalty removed. Sometimes they get a double warning for one infraction, but it's rare, and you have to make the assumption that a 3-second penalty or increments thereof will stand in the final scheme of things. Well, it's hard tyres for Matrav, Neil and Quintin, and it's mediums for Simps, Duxter, Dom Rabico. Really fantastic race from Dom Rabico. I'm only sorry that we didn't catch more of his start, and hopefully he was streaming it, and he can provide a link in the description below when he watches back the video and the stream today. That would be pretty awesome to capture some of that, because he's had a monstrous first few laps and absolutely consolidated those gains and continued to make them. He's up into P6, starting I think it was 16th. It's now lap 23 with 3 to go. Sparks tracking in 9th place, has gained 2 seconds on Calvin, and there you go, fastest lap, as I say, at 1:28.183. Would not surprise me to see him make that move and actually get up to 8th, but what could have been tonight, Tim?
Yeah, definitely what could have been. He could have won on his debut. He could have got a podium on his debut, but he waited a little bit too long, and arguably, in hindsight is 2020, he should have probably pitted with Matrav, but I see why he didn't, and honestly, under different circumstances, I believe the strategy could have worked, but he stayed out way too long for that to have a chance.
Yeah. Fully agree. Simps still struggling to hold the car. I think these mediums starting to lose their best, and he's drifting back from Matrav, who is deciding now is as good a time as any to rush past. But actually Simps very slow down the Hanger Straight. What was going on there? I think maybe he's got a puncture. He was weaving slightly, but really struggled and was just blasted past on the Hanger Straight by Neil. Almost looked like he missed a gear or had an issue, but Simps really struggling through that final sector and down to third place. Now in the clutches potentially of Quintin, who is 6 seconds back. It's lap 24 though, only 2 to go, so this could well be our podium. I wonder if Neil has got anything in hand to try and capitalise here on Matrav's increased tyre wear versus himself. We'll see with just 2 laps to go.
Well, Neil has got less ERS than Matrav does, but not by much, honestly. Matrav really with the ERS deployed, but now Neil has it deployed as well, and both of these guys are pretty much going to be pushing their batteries and their engines to the limit for these final 2 laps. I think that DRS Neil might actually have a chance to get around Matrav, but he's going to have to use everything to his advantage. It's going to be qualifying laps from here on out, and he's going to have to use every bit of the DRS zone that is allotted to him, and both drivers actually, I think, are a little bit under pressure. Both of them looked like to have a less than ideal line through Maggots and Beckett's that time. DRS Neil with 0.7 of a second between him and Matrav, and this is really where Neil is able to benefit, because Matrav has no one that he is getting DRS off of, so if Neil can stay close to him, he does have a chance to overtake him.
Absolutely. Well, Top Dog and Dom Rabico were swapping places through Sector 2, but Top Dog getting the better of Don Rabico, whose tyres are past their best at this point. Dom Rabico, unfortunately, not able to stay in that 6th position he'd reached and peaked in this race. Remember, P3 in our championship, Dom Rabico. And Quintin will be pleased for some good points after an issue in the previous round. I'm sure much much appreciated it will be for our league owner. I think just highlighting other drivers, you can see now Sparks just 1 second off Calvin. The difference in pace there showing, I think P8 may be the best achievable position for Sparks. Anybody else with sort of standout races at this point for you, Tim?
So far, no, except Don Rabico, as you were saying, of course, finding himself into P7 after having an abysmal qualifying. And Calvin Racing, he actually spun earlier on in this race, but he finds himself in the 8th position. It is a good day for him as well. And Zardi having a possible top 10 run today, so that's good as well. So, there are some tiny little victories that we can see from these drivers, in the back of the pack. Just because they're not racing up front doesn't mean they haven't had a good day. And DRS Neil, though, arguably could have the best day of all if he can find a way around Matt Trav, but the clock is ticking. We are about to come up on the final lap of this race. If DRS Neil has anything left for the Mercedes driver, he's going to have to show it now. Yeah,
definitely. Well, penalties from 3rd all the way down to 14th. Just Don Rabico as Duckster is out of the session. Duckster retiring on the entry to the pit lane right at the death of this race. I'm not sure what happened. Let's have a look from Zardi's perspective. Definitely want to catch the final lap with the leaders, but yeah, just spearing off oddly in the opposite direction of travel through the Stowe corner. So double wave yellow it will be to finish this race. So I think if they can't move the car, then an overtake would not be possible, but it looks like they have been able to move that car. We will not have a double wave yellow, and so Neil now with 0.7 of a second to Madtrav. It's now or never, and Madtrav being pushed right to the end of this race by 2 different drivers tonight, 3 if you count Simps, really, but on the same strategy at the start of the race. Neil, Sparks and Madtrav have all been at it, very, very close at the front. Neil now really chasing down Madtrav, but the gap is opening up. I feel like Madtrav has decided to pull out all the stops, Tim, on this final lap.
And both of them have used all of their ERS. They have single-digit numbers left. That was arguably Neil's last chance. He put up a good fight, but I don't think it's going to be enough.
2 corners to go for Madtrav. 26 laps of Silverstone complete, and it will be yet another win for Madtrav, but he didn't have it easy. He wins in Silverstone round 6, clearing away faster than the rest of the field, but not quite didn't quite have the same gap as he's had before. Neil 2nd place, Simps in 3rd, Quintin getting 4th place, followed by Top Dog. Sparks got all the way up to 6th thanks to Duckster and Dom Rabico's backwards movements through the field. He managed to get Calvin and Sparks just showing a little bit his displeasure there, possibly at the tail of the race. Unfortunately, we got a little bit of damage action, seeing Calvin, Zardi, Jaime Alonso beating his teammate in the Alfa Romeo. Then we get Matty showing a spectacular finish down there in 10th. Points all the way down to the finishing positions, and bonus points for finishing to everybody, of course, in this league. Zardi P11, not Schumi in P12, and always worth bringing the car home. Hopefully, we will see Hamrick finish the race some 30 seconds back from Schumi, who was in fact 37 seconds back from the next car in front. He completes the race, and there's a lot of cars and damage sitting in the finish of the race, but it didn't affect the final standings. Don Rabico getting the official driver of the day, as you would well expect given his climb up the field. Tim, take us through the finishing order once we're done with the podium celebrations, please.
And Matt Trav, your winner for the British Grand Prix today. DRS Neil, a hard-fought battle, but coming up 1 spot short in 2nd. Simps in 3rd. Quintin in 4th. Top Dog in 5th. Don Rabico in 6th. Ico Sparks in the 7th position. Almost had a win, but came up a little bit short with plenty of time penalties, but still a decent debut for the Aston Martin driver. Calvin Racing in 8th. 9th is Jaime Alonso. Maddie in 10th. Zardi in 11th. Not Schumi in 12th. 13th is Hamrick. Duckster in 14th. 15th is Xander. Diego Maestro in 16th. Bino for real in 17th. And 18th is Fudge.
Well, fantastic stuff. Hopefully we will look to try and get some drivers for you. We've got a little bit of time to spare. We hope to get our podium runners available for interview if at all possible. So we will try and try and sort that out. I know that Matrav is already on his way, but I think Quinton will be arranging everybody into the order. If Matrav and anybody joining us for the session can give us just double check their broadcast audio settings are set to share, and we'll make sure that we can hear their voice in the finishing order. Matrav, have you made it to the press conference for us?
Yeah, what's up, guys?
Hey, Matrav. Well, congratulations. That was another win for you, but far from easy this time.
Yeah, definitely. Personally, I don't think I had the pace to win that race. I think I was just more consistent by the looks of it than everyone, and I was fast where I needed to be. But yeah, the guys really pushed me today. It was a really good race. I think the top four were pretty much in the DRS train within a second, like the whole race. I think pretty much. That safety car got a few guys. I think, I know E-cars. But yeah, I mean, I suppose it is what it is. It's all comes down to strategy.
Absolutely. Well, Tim, feel free to go ahead and ask questions. We can always alternate.
Well, what were you thinking there at the end, Matrav? Because surely you were quite aware that Neil was coming up very close to you, and I was watching both of your telemetries, and both of you pretty much used every bit of it that you could.
Yeah, I'm not sure who was on the mediums and who was on the hards, but I know at the end, I think it was Neil behind me, and I think he was on the hards. But yeah, it definitely it was close. I was having to be super close to track limits for the most part, especially through sector 2, through Mackett's and Beckett's and that. But yeah, luckily didn't pick up a penalty and just seemed to have the edge over him where it mattered.
Yeah, well, how were you feeling about the guys around you today? Neil, Simps, and as well Sparks. Were you expecting to be under quite so much threat?
Personally, Britain isn't one of my best tracks. I won here last season, but it's not one of my best tracks compared to the guys around me normally. So I knew Sparks was going to be up there for sure. Neil and Simps, to be brutally honest, were really a surprise, but it made it fun. I like the challenge, and we got that today, and I think it made for a really good stream.
It was really competitive. Tim, how about a final one for Matrav?
You know what, Matrav, I just got to ask you, at what point do you think you're going to stagnate or plateau? Because at the moment it just seems like you keep going up and up and up as far as your performance. You have won multiple times. You are a multi-time champion. How far do you think you're going?
Well, I would like to say to be able to make the ultimate goal, which would be the Pro Series Esports. That's the ultimate goal. I mean, let's be realistic. But whether it'll happen, I mean, I'm not sure. I've got 2-ish years. I think you have to be 17 or 16 or older. So I've got a year to 2 years to still work on it. So, yeah, let's hope that we can make it, I suppose.
Well, yeah, putting fear in the hearts of anybody who is of age to qualify, I'm sure. Well, good luck with that. Good luck with the Challenger Series and all the good stuff you have to come, Matrav. And congratulations on another win. And hopefully we can have competitive races like this still to come in the championship. I must move on to Neil, who's been patiently waiting. Neil, congratulations on getting that podium today. And it looked like you had some great pace out there.
Yeah, setup was good and everything was a good quali was the main thing. We were all on the same tires and same strap, so made it much easier like that.
So Neil, there at the end you were chasing down Matrav. Did you think that you were going to be able to catch him? Because I was watching you use up your ERS just like Matrav was, but you did have less than him, unfortunately, and I think that ultimately it did show because you finished second place. But what was going through your mind? What were you thinking? Was there any other way that you think you could have done something differently to pass him at the end?
Yeah, a slight difference in quali. I ran a lower wing, a front wing, And then for the race, I didn't pick it up, so I was struggling through maggots and beckets and through the corners a bit. So if I was like close to Matchav, I was getting a lot of understeer. So I made a bit of a mistake by not upping my front wing. So through the turns and all, I couldn't stay close to him, but I was quick in a straight line. That was, I think, a small mistake. I would have been closer on the last lap and I would have saved a much more ERS through the laps. So just a slight mistake on my part.
Well, Neil, is this normally a strong track for you? You seem to be quick in qualifying as well.
Yeah, finally I put a good quali, and then Sparks came on top of that and beat me. So yeah, so it was quite a good quali. Normally I don't quali well, and my race pace is much better, but it was better being up there with them today instead of coming from the back.
Definitely. Well, congrats on that one. Tim, any last comments for Neil?
No, I think I'm good. I mean, congratulations, though, to you for a second place. I know it's got to be painful that it's not a win, but second place is definitely nothing to scoff at.
If you got a comment from Matchup, if he wants to be in the Pro Series and you're second off him on a track, it's not bad. So I'm happy with that. I'm close to that. And well done to Sims, too. Had great pace today. And for
absolutely.
The one part. Yeah, so great race from Matchup and Sims.
Great stuff. Well, I think Simps joined and then left the party. I don't know if he's had to run. Unfortunately, I don't think... Oh, you're Simps. You're still here. Brilliant stuff. Excellent. Well, Simps, in that case, congrats on the podium and on a heart-fought race on perhaps not the most ideal strategy.
Can I just ask real quick? Am I like the bar to beat you? Everyone's so happy they're so close to me. What's going on? Am I like the bar? What's happening? Oh, but that doesn't mean I should be the bar. I wouldn't say I was the fastest today.
I mean, so many pole positions. You're looking at 3 championship wins and leading the championship now. I think you're going to have to wear the mantle of being the bar, Matchav. As uncomfortable as that might be to you, I think you definitely are the bar in SAF1.
I suppose I'll take it as a compliment, but I think that bar's going to have to get raised slightly. After
all the
today's
time
race.
Getting raised. Like, I know the first time I raced Matchav, I was like 1 second off his quali pace, and to like be close now, everyone's improving every time. Yeah, because I know other leagues and all, they said no, this man is using this cheat, and it's not all that. It's this pure talent. We've been through all that. The guy is fast, and for us to be closing the gap on him some part, but he still got the edge on us, it's good too. Pushes all of us to get faster at the end.
No, you're right. Simps, I think we might have a slight problem with your audio. I think maybe your broadcast audio settings are not set to share. Tiago's been in touch just to say he can't hear you at this point, but we have enjoyed talking to you nonetheless. I hear, while you try and adjust that for us, I hear that this is the first podium for you. So congrats on that. No mean feat whatsoever. So congratulations on a first podium in SAF1. Awesome. I think Quentin might be around. Quentin, any words from you today?
Yeah, I'm still here. I was just listening in.
Good.
Well, firstly, congratulations on Sims. I'm glad your connection hell through the race. So
Yeah.
so, and then at least you could show us your real pace. So I'm really glad you're on the podium, and I think Neil deserves a full-time seat. This guy's too fast to be a reserve, so he needs to get a full-time seat. And everyone wants to be as quick as Matt Rapp. So no, I'm happy with the guys on the podium. It was a great race. I had to fight pretty hard to keep P4, but yeah, not take anything away from the guys up front. Congratulations to everyone. Let's see if you guys can hear me.
Yeah.
We can in the party at least. Well, the stream will speak up, I'm sure, if you can't be heard. But yeah, good job on the P4 today. It looked like a hard-fought battle, 5 or 6 way battle in that second group on the track, which seemed to be the same before and after the safety car today, Quintin.
It was really tough. It was full defense for me because the guys were really quick, and I think it was just saving ERS and just deploying it at the right time. And I had to defend a couple of times side by side, but I'm glad we all came through clean, and hopefully there was no contact. But I don't think there was. I really enjoyed it.
So defending like a lion today?
Yeah, and also shout out to my teammate, aka Checo, for holding back top dog a little bit when I got past him. So
yeah, it looked like he was alive to the fact that you perhaps had better pace certainly at that point of the race, and was certainly helping you along a little bit.
Oh, I needed his DRS, so I got it, and he held back the guys behind for a lap, which certainly gave me a bit of breathing space. So I'm happy about that too.
Awesome. Well, congrats everybody for top 4 finishes. Great to talk to everyone. We're nearing the 2-hour mark, Tim. So I think it's time for closing statements. Any reflections or final questions at all?
Well, I think it was a fantastic race. Unfortunately for all of our DNFs, unfortunately, otherwise it could have been even better. And of course, unfortunate for Sparks there too, because it was so close. You and I know we were talking about, and we didn't understand why he stayed out so long on the medium tires. But ultimately, it's going to be a lesson learned for the new Aston Martin driver. But congratulations to our top 3 finishers of Matt, Trav, Neil, and Simps. It was a fantastic race, and you all stayed so close there at the beginning. I don't understand how you all stayed so close to each other for so long, but props to you, definitely.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thanks to everybody. Thanks again to our sponsors, Quintessential Video and Photo Works, DR Developments, and Rabico Holdings. And from me, Webbo, and from Tim, we'll say goodbye for now, and hope to catch you again next week. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the video if you're watching this back on stream, share it in socials if you've enjoyed yourself, and we will all catch you on the next race day.